A professor of environmental studies and politics, Professor David W. Orr once said, "The plain fact is that the planet does not need more successful people, but it does desperately need more peacemakers, healers, restorers, storytellers, and lovers of every kind. It needs people who live well in their places. It needs people of moral courage willing to join the fight to make the world habitable and humane. And these qualities have little to do with success as we have defined it. A perfect society would consist of an atmosphere where random acts of kindness were a normal part of everyone's daily life. Not only does one experience a sensation of relief and joy whenever performing an act of kindness, the deed also affects the person whom the kindness was directed towards. A random act of kindness is a widely known subject. However, the effects of the action are not as well known. In today's society, between all of the cars, cell phones, money, jobs, and new technology, it becomes easier to be wrapped up or conceited with oneself, forgetting about others. A random act of kindness can bring a person out of this conceited stage. A random act of kindness is doing a selfless act, big or small, without expecting anything in return. There are a plethora of effects that come along with doing this specific task. For example, by carrying out a random act of kindness, it affects the presenter along with the receiver, psychologically as well as physically. Can you recall a time someone was kind to you? Now, change the scenario and think of a time you were kind to another person. Call to mind their reaction and how you responded. Move into your heart and notice the feelings there. In this fast-paced world, kindness and compassion takes a backseat to selfies, self-interest, and expendable human interactions. Every person is waiting to be discovered or become rich, believing it holds the key to their success. Yet when they attain their success, they long for their former life, having underestimated the trappings of fame and celebrity. Kindness is fundamental to the human existence. We are thrust into the world as newborns and enriched with the kindness of our parents' nurturing for the ensuing years. Therefore, kindness is sewn into the framework of our DNA. We are literally wired for kindness. Every person has opinions on how to improve the world, though no one wants to practice kindness in their own backyard. World peace will not arise from overthrowing dictatorial powers or ending conflicts between nations. It will happen when humanity raises its consciousness beyond that of fear and hatred. Kindness is not something that demands hard work. It originates from the simple act of doing no harm to others. It involves judging less, however compelled you might be to do so. The ego is quick to judge when it is victimized and hurt, so it retaliates in revenge. Kindness, however, bites its tongue. It does not seek to be right, but to preserve peace of mind. You gain little by giving someone a piece of your mind, other than inciting conflict and separation. It's no surprise wicked acts have a greater impression of us than acts of kindness. We are alerted to fear more than goodness. Psychologists believe we are wired to detect that which threatens our survival and happiness. We give attention to acts of cruelty in the news because it is perceived as a threat to our survival. In these times of disingenuous social media interactions, unkindness abounds as people behind screens. This does not make it appropriate to abuse others. There is a person on the other side of the screen with feelings we must take into account. An important lesson in kindness involves asking yourself, how would I handle being the recipient of this? If it doesn't feel good, avoid the behavior. Incorporate the smallest acts of kindness into your everyday life and notice the ripple effects. The butterfly effect in chaos theory asserts that a tiny event in one region of the globe can have a substantial effect somewhere else. Armed with this knowledge, it is the Dalai Lama who reminds us that if you can't be kind, avoid harming others.